Hi, everybody, and welcome back to On the DL. Today we have, I say this all the time, we have a special guest, but this is for real, a super special guest because we have a real deal celebrity. Real deal when I say an original supermodel, one of the crew from the original supermodel group that I grew up with. And I'm so excited to chat with you. Monika Schnarre is here today. Hi, Monika.
Hey, thanks for having me on.
I'm so happy to know that you are thriving and you have reinvented yourself over and over again with so many different incredible careers and so many different purposes that you've been going in and out of the decades with, but you've always remained the same. People, when
Mm.
you name, like when I name drop Monika Schnarre, people are like, wow, she's still around. I see her. She's so beautiful. She's so authentic. And I know we're about to have an incredible conversation, so thanks for being here. And I
Thank
wanted to first say
you.
Happy New Year. And how you doing? How's everything?
Happy
How's
New Year.
life?
That was quite the introduction. Thank you. Life is really good. I mean, other than a pandemic, a global
Mm.
pandemic, I have nothing to complain about. I am very lucky and I know that. And I have a beautiful son and I live north of Toronto. And so we're able to get outside. So I know how
Mm.
blessed I am.
And how far are you from Toronto? Are you up in the
Just,
Muskoka area?
I'm not, I'm near Collingwood.
Oh, beautiful.
Yeah.
Lovely.
Yeah.
And you have animals?
I do. And I preface this interview with saying that I don't know if my dog's going to bark or my cat's going to jump
Same.
on me, but we'll see how it goes.
It's real life, right? Like
Yeah,
that's just what it is.
working from
We're
home.
all working from home. That's
Yeah,
right. We have dogs and kids. And how old is
yeah.
your son now?
He's already interrupted. He came in during your introduction. He is eight.
Amazing.
Amazing.
Wow.
Yeah, he's eight,
Amazing. You
and
have an
it
8-year-old
goes.
already.
Yes, and yours are grown. You have grown children.
I have 5 children. I know, don't get
Okay.
scared.
Okay.
2 are from my belly, 3 are from love. So I
Yeah,
have 3
beautiful.
stepchildren.
Yes.
I have a stepdaughter who's 22, a stepson that's 20, another stepson that's 18. My sons are 17 and 14, almost 15, and it goes fast,
I know. I
really
just
fast.
cherish, I just started, I always was pretty good about playing with him, but I just started putting my phone away. Today we
Mm,
played in the forest for a couple of hours and I just said, Monica, don't look at your phone. Everyone can wait. And
yes,
because I know how these moments are so finite and they're not always going to be there for us.
so precious.
Hmm. So
So
precious. That's a
precious,
better word.
so
Yeah.
precious. I know my baby's going to university next year. I'm freaking out. So
Mhm.
I'm going to read your bio if I can.
Oh,
So people
sure.
are listening,
Okay.
you're going to say, oh, what's Monica doing? What's she up
Okay.
to? Okay. So if you don't know who Monica is, you're going to know now. Okay. So Monica, actually, can you pronounce your last name for me? Because some people have said it different ways.
Sure, I prefer Schnare, like air,
Yes.
but it's not incorrect. It's the German way to say Schnarr, Schnarre.
Oh,
It's not
ah,
pretty.
well, it's a nice language. Okay, Schneider. That's how I've pronounced it all these years. Okay. At age 14, Monica was the youngest ever to win the prestigious Ford modeling agency Supermodel of the World competition. By 15, she was the youngest to have ever appeared on the cover of American Vogue and on the pages of Sports Illustrated swimsuit issue. In 1989, she wrote a book about her modeling experience titled Monica Between You and Me, has appeared in over 50 film and television roles, including The Bold and the Beautiful and Beverly Hills 90210. You know, I'm going to ask you all about 90210.
Sure, ask away.
Cher went on to study television broadcast journalism at the University of California and was a guest correspondent on eTalk and ET Canada. In 2014, Schneider launched her line of natural anti-aging skincare products. Wow. But we also are going to talk about your health journey today,
Yeah, yeah, I'm
your
excited to
wellness.
talk to you about this.
So am I. I'm super excited. And before we get into all of that and one of the reasons why you're here today, I want to start just unpacking your life a little bit from when
Yeah,
people first
yeah.
met you at
Mhm.
14.
I know, it's crazy. Whenever I meet someone who recognizes me, I know exactly how old they are because they were about my age
I'm
when
your
I
age.
won, yes.
Yeah.
And before they even speak, I know they're mostly Canadian. They're about 45 to 55, and
Yes.
they remember when I won, which is really sweet and endearing, and it warms my heart. When I was younger, it used to embarrass me, and I was really super shy. But now it's just nice when someone says, "Hi, Monica, I remember you." And it makes me really happy.
I find that I've heard, in other conversations I've had with other celebrities, and they've said that they're shy, or when they meet strangers and people come up to them and they want to either shake their hand or get their autograph, they just feel like they can't do that. And I always was
Oh.
so bewildered by that, thinking, wow, you're famous and you
Well,
have a
that,
hard
yeah,
time.
comes with
Yeah.
it. Yeah.
You
So
know,
you have to forgive me. When I was younger, I was just super, awkward
of
as a
course.
teenager, as you are.
Mhm.
But these days it's just a blessing to have
Mhm.
people remember you, and for the most part, they're really nice. And so, yeah, it goes along with the territory. If you're going to be on television, people are going to come up to you and say they
Yeah.
know you, and or feel like,
Yeah.
they want to talk to you. And I think that's lovely.
I have to admit to you, when you were on the cover of Vogue,
Yeah.
um, I I remember seeing you on the cover of Vogue and thinking, "Oh my God, if she could do that, we can all do something
Oh,
amazing."
that's
And
so
I
nice.
remember my girlfriends all felt the same way. This is a Canadian supermodel.
Oh,
And we
that's
were
so
we were all of us. I just remember all of my friends always thought of you as, you know, this Canadian that went and followed her dream and did so quickly and with
thank
such
you.
success. And I think you still carry that, because when I say your name, people smile still, Monica. They're like, "Oh yeah,
Oh,
Monika Schnarre. How is she?
that's
What's
so
she up
nice.
to?" It's a nice feeling.
It is a really nice feeling, and thank you. I appreciate you saying that. And, I was fangirling once. I bought a ticket all by myself and went to Chantal Kreviatzik's show. And I was able to meet her after, and she said just what you said. And I started bawling because I was listening to her music forever. And she said, "You inspired me and told me that a girl from a small town in Canada can make it." And I was like, "I inspired Chantal Kreviatzik. This is amazing." So thank you for saying that. That makes me feel really good.
100%, but it's true. And I think that as women, we need to continue to raise each other up and celebrate all of our successes, and
Yeah.
continue to embrace each other during our losses and everything that we've been through over the last few years. And
Yeah.
that's why when I was reading about your health journey and wellness, I thought, wow, you'd be an incredible person to come on the DL and talk about everything that you have been through, because
Yeah.
we aren't just the face, right? We are
Mm.
so multifaceted and complicated, and we have so much going on all the
Yeah,
time.
exactly. And with this, I know we're going to get into it in a minute, but just learning more about your health, and it could prevent a lot of the sadness that you go through, that I feel I could have prevented, with my child loss journey, or trying to my infertility. The more we know and the information is out there now, the more powerful you are to make decisions. And so I'm excited to talk to you.
What kind of changes have you seen since you have gone on this journey?
So I started with the DNA company exactly a year ago, and prior to that, I wasn't looking to endorse a product or be a spokesperson for any one product. But I came across the DNA company, and I was experiencing, all the things that you sort of attribute to perimenopause. My hair was falling. I know it doesn't look like it, but my hair was falling out in clumps in the shower, and I don't sleep, and I'm gaining weight, and I'm stressed, and like all of these things. And oh, and I was on blood pressure medication, which is a
Yes,
big
I
one.
read that. Hmm.
Which is, which is, you just think, oh, well, my family history, you can justify anything, right? Or
Hmm.
attribute it to anything. But then I realized that I was just eating the wrong way. I thought keto was for everyone and
Hmm.
it must be healthy, right? Because everyone's doing it
Hmm.
and it makes sense. And initially I lost weight. And so, but actually, I might have been doing irreparable harm. And
Mm.
so I happened to meet the owner or the CEO of the DNA company, Kashi Khan, and I took the test, and how I was eating and how I was exercising, all of it was contributing to the way I was feeling. And so I thought that's a great company to partner with. And so I did.
Okay, so let's get into it.
Okay.
What is the DNA company?
So they are a genomic testing company. They will optimize your health based on your specific genes. To put it simply, they've studied thousands of people, and they study your specific genome, your genetic makeup, and they will tell you. Some people can eat keto. Some people can eat vegan. Some people can exercise really hard. And I was exercising in a way that was really detrimental to my health, which is high cardio. And
Mm.
that creates oxidative stress. And it's hard for my specific genetic makeup to expel that stress. And so I should just be, doing yoga and walking really. And I was putting all this stress on my body, and
Hmm.
I didn't. But for some people, running is perfectly fine. They're able to
Yeah.
expel that stress, and they're able to metabolize. I wasn't able to metabolize saturated fat, which is a huge component to keto. Do you want a pork rind? Sure. it's
Hmm.
it's
Big
not,
steak. Yeah.
but for some people it's totally fine. And so I'm not knocking, by the way, anyone's diet or how they eat.
Hmm.
For me, it wasn't working, and so I just got really excited about taking control of my health again. And I they also offer, after your testing, they offer the counseling and the specific nutrition guidance, and also the vitamins that you need, supplemental vitamins. So I have one for mitochondrial support, which helps with that oxidative stress. I have one for sleep, which is all natural. And so I just feel better. I'm able to, function better in life. And that's, at the end of the day, that's really what we all want, right? Is to
I
feel
think
good.
so. I think so.
Yeah.
And I think particularly now, um, as we come upon the second year anniversary of this pandemic, and it
Yeah.
feels just so bad right now. It feels bad. And people want to feel better. And they just,
Yeah.
I think particularly women, I can't speak for men because I'm not a man. I always say that I can't speak on behalf of men because I'm not a man. So I don't know, but I can speak on behalf of women and what
Yeah.
women have shared with me here on the DL and what women share with me outside of work. And
Mhm.
they have said numerous times it's really hard. And particularly if you are in that age category, post 40, post 45, your body starts to change. And we have been forced in some ways to hibernate and then to keep hibernating and try to reinvent how our health and our health journeys look. And it's not working for a lot of people.
Mhm.
And couple that with age and what's happening with the world, it's really sucked. And when I was reading about the DNA company, I thought, wow, I would love to know what I'm doing wrong. Because contrary to popular belief, and I'm sure you can attest to this, it's not how you look, it's how you feel.
Mhm.
Do you agree?
Exactly. Well, 100%. And they coincide, right? If you're not feeling good internally, you're
Hmm.
probably not looking great unless you've got really good filters and Photoshop,
Oh,
which
of
is also
course.
deceiving and makes everyone feel terrible about themselves.
That's a
But
whole other issue.
that's
That's
a
a
whole
whole
nother
other,
story.
yes.
But
Yeah.
no, if you're not like, I don't want to live the next half of my life feeling terrible. And I wasn't feeling great, and I was kind of just, it also affects you mentally, right? If you are always in pain, or you're not sleeping, or you're gaining weight, and it's upsetting mentally, right? And we've
Hmm.
gone through a very stressful mental time, and we're in it still. I can't believe
Hmm.
we're in it still, but,
I know.
trying to work and, take care of children, and like, honestly, it's a
Like,
lot.
honestly,
It's really
honestly.
overwhelming, and I just, I don't know. I just really pray that a lot of people will be able to make it through mentally.
Yes, I agree. And you've talked openly about your past and your body images that, or the
Hmm.
body image, or problems
Yeah,
that you've had around body image. And I wonder, did you carry that into adulthood? Was that always with you?
sure, sure. I
Or
still
was
do, because
really?
I didn't fit into that. I was working with these supermodels, but they were 5'9" and 127 pounds. And I wasn't. I'm 6'2". So, like, I always felt I still have issues around body image that I haven't been able to shake. But I've gotten a lot better with it. I know that, I'm very unique in my height, and I've embraced it. But I also have always had this internal conflict. Like, when I see my hands, I just think of the Seinfeld episode, like, a
Ah,
man hands. I have gigantic hands, and I just, it's taken a long time for me to accept that I'll never fit into that cookie cutter, model sort of, size 6. I never have, like, size 4, 6 runway, and, just to be me, and that's
it
okay.
sounds it sounds so, um, not funny. What's the word I'm looking for? But when you say, I will never fit into that, model size, like, you are a model.
Right, but
You
I
are
always,
a supermodel. You are a
oh,
supermodel.
well, I did model, but I also, I didn't fit the clothing always, because
Oh, really?
the size of
Mm.
my shoulders, or, the length of my arms. You see? So yeah, it was a big issue. I did a lot of this modeling, like, from the
Yes.
chest up,
Your famous
which
your
is
famous
fine.
poses with your, yeah, for sure.
But, no, I couldn't always do the runway shows because the clothing didn't fit, or,
Oh,
and then
wow.
some photographers really got it. Like, Bill King was this amazing photographer who would hire the tallest girls, and he would also insist that they brought not just samples, but, larger sizes, which was great, so that we could actually, Ashley Richardson and Rachel Williams and myself, we could, so for Enrico Claveri, we could wear the clothing. He made sure that it actually fit us.
So the reason why I ask you about body image and the way you felt when you were younger and you brought that to adulthood, because since you have learned about your DNA and you've
Hmm.
learned how you can empower your health and yourself,
Hmm. Hmm.
do you feel like some of that has dissipated a bit?
Yeah, I believe it has. And also forgiven myself for past behaviors, because I carry this one gene I learned from the company, which, it has to do with binging, and I was a binger, and I there's a lot of sort of shame around eating disorders, and but now when I learned this, that I actually carry a gene, that I'm predisposed to this gratification thing, and then this guilt. I was able to forgive myself for a lot of stuff, and I know that sounds maybe a bit silly, but you carry a
No.
lot of, shame and guilt about, oh, I wasn't strong enough, or, and, it really, I've had a lot of healing in the last year, and also around fertility. I learned that I'm testosterone dominant, which, people think, oh, that sounds okay, right? Because you can, get a 6 pack. If I work really hard, I can get a 6 pack, which is nice. But then I also had trouble getting pregnant, which was
Mm.
really hard, right? So and he could have, the company could have told me this information prior to trying, and child losses, and, um, losing pregnancies. And, so it's really empowering, for women and men, of course, to learn
Yeah.
what they're predisposed to, what they can look for, how they can navigate these issues prior maybe
Can,
to them happening.
can you tell me a bit about the process of getting your DNA tested? What does it
Yeah.
entail?
So it's super easy and painless. It's just like I want people to understand it's not the DNA company that you might hire for finding your long lost relatives, right? it's
No.
but it's the same process. So they're not going to tell you who your long lost Sally is, but you take a specimen from your saliva and that's it. And I
That's
also
it.
want people to that's it. And it takes about 2 to 3 weeks to get back. And the process is really easy. And I want people to know that their information is not going to be sold, which a lot of people have approached me about. And
Mhm.
many companies do. That's how they make money on the back end. But this company absolutely does not sell your information. In fact, your name's not on the vial, it's a number and it's all coded. So, and I understand that that's a concern for people. And I want everyone to know that I trust this company and they do not and are not allowed to sell your information.
So you take the swab, you send it gets sent off
A
to a lab,
vial,
then
yep. Spit, spit.
and
It's
they
not pretty. Spit, spit, and then
spit,
send it
spit,
away.
it
And
goes away.
send it away.
And then they call you in a few weeks with your results. Somebody's do they talk you through it? I'm sure
So
you
they'll
probably have
send it
a,
all via
yeah.
email. And then
Okay.
there's follow-up counseling. If you'd like to learn more specific, it's all spelled out very clearly and simply in your report. But if you would like, they have the experts to consult with you and tell you specifically what each marker means if you have some highlighted. And basically, there are 6 different, I mean, for women, it's fascinating. This is the only company that sort of has put women into 6 very specific categories based on their genomic profile. And so you
Okay.
can find out which one you are. Are you testosterone dominant? Are you estrogen dominant? And what does that mean? And other markers. And it's really quite fascinating. I'm still learning. I mean, it's extensive. They studied thousands of people, but they gave me the blueprint to start making changes right away.
And did you right away, what did you do? What was the first thing that you changed?
Well, I got rid of the saturated fats in my diet and subsequently was able to get off of the blood pressure medication. So
That is crazy. When
I
people tell me
know.
stories about getting off medication that they've been on for a long time
Yeah.
and that their physicians have said, this is lifelong and you're probably, you're going to have to buckle up because this is part of your life now. You receive a diagnosis and you take meds. But then they try a different, more holistic approach and it
Yeah.
changes.
Yes, and I
And
don't want people to jump off of
no, of course
their
not.
blood pressure medication.
No, no. But there's
But
always a way to, if you feel, I've always said to people, if you have an instinct that something is not quite right with your body or your
yeah,
health, go for another opinion, whatever it
yeah.
may be, right?
Yeah,
So
exactly. And for me, I was able to do that. And also, I love running, but it might not be the best thing for me. And I was exhausted after I ran, like literally on the couch, and I couldn't do anything. And now, I take it. I hike up the mountain here, or I take my son for a walk, and more, just be more gentle for my body. I'm more gentle with my working out habits right now.
it's so
And it feels
interesting you
better.
say that. I've also heard that the pounding and
Right.
the intense workouts for women as they get older really doesn't service anybody very well. That
Yeah,
if
not to
yeah.
mention aesthetically too. You see these runners that are like gaunt and
I know.
I mean,
You
God bless
know,
them because they're really working hard.
yes, I can tell you, I was a runner like in ages ago, and then I stopped, and I started walking religiously every single day. My body completely changed when I walked, like
Yeah,
leaned out, and I felt a lot better from
yeah,
walking.
yeah.
And then I tried running again this past summer, and it didn't do me well. Like I thought this isn't, it's not good. And the reason why I started running again was because I had a puppy who needed rehab, and they were telling me that he had to go on short spurts. like run for 30 seconds, walk for a minute. I thought, what, who's working out here, me or the dog? And he's on a leash. So I was doing that with him, and I thought I loved it at first. And then I realized this isn't great for me.
Yeah.
But I think that there's something very magical about walking.
Yeah.
I think
And
so.
yeah, and if you're not able, if you're say in the city, for me also just a low impact on the treadmill. If you're,
Yeah.
well, right now you're not able to get to the gym, but
Right.
when things open up for me on a steep incline, but nice and
Mm.
slow, anaerobic versus aerobic, and
Wow.
so you don't, it doesn't have the stress on your heart, and I just actually see a huge difference
Do
in my
you do
metabolism.
weights and stuff? Do you lift weights,
I
like light weights?
do. I'm a bit lazy
Me.
lately, but I do. I know how good it is for me, but I should
I
do
love it.
more.
Yes.
Well, it
Oh,
looks like you're in shape. I
oh,
haven't been at all, but I should. It
but
is
you
very
will.
good for you.
I'm
I
sure
will.
you've heard this before. Your body rests when it needs to rest, right? And
Yeah.
there's this natural resting that we do this time of year, into the holidays. And oh, that's why we call it a holiday, because we
Yeah.
actually rest, right? We give
Right.
ourselves a break, and it's
Yeah.
important. And then we reset, and then we keep going. But I want to tell you something funny. I
Mm-hmm.
interviewed many, many years ago, like 10, 15 years ago, I interviewed a plastic surgeon about something. I don't remember what it was about,
Mm-hmm.
but we started talking about running, and he said, you should stop running now. And I thought, well, why? And he said, as you get older, like even post 35, he said, your face will start to fall. If you run, your face will fall and you can't get that back. I thought, I don't want my face to fall. And he said, yeah, like you will see
Mm-hmm.
women and you will be able to say, she's a runner, she's a runner, she's a
Mm-hmm.
smoker, she's a smoker, she's a runner. He said, it's very obvious. And he's right. And your face falls.
That's what I was trying to say earlier, but you said it more succinctly. But I mean, they're out there doing their thing, and it's really hard, but it also shows on your face. So I'm gonna take that easy. I mean, I actually miss running, so I'm a
Yeah.
little bit sad about that. But I also know for my body it wasn't working at all. So, and my
It's
joints. Let's talk about when you hit 50 and your joints. Oh
I know.
my
Well, maybe I've had lots of problems with my shoulder, my hip, my neck. I feel because it was the running a decade ago.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
my hip is a mess and I'm so afraid to have it looked at because I don't want anyone to tell me that I need a hip replacement.
Probably not. I will tell you, Monica, you probably don't.
Okay.
I mean, what do I know? I'm not a doctor, but I don't know. I went to physio and I was really strict with myself about it. And I did the exercises and the stretching, and
It's
it
gotten
just
better.
I don't know, something just happens. Some people it takes months, a year, whatever.
Yeah,
It
yeah.
just feels so much better. I was
Good.
so happy for it. So things like that. So
Yes.
like your terms of like your workouts and your eating has changed. You talk
Yeah.
about you've now implementing supplements into your
Yep.
diet as well
Hmm.
now,
Yes, I
and you weren't
am.
doing that before.
I was a bit lazy about it and maybe taking the wrong things. I didn't know what I was supposed to take. I just thought,
Right.
oh, everyone gets on these sort of trends.
Yeah.
Oh, you should be taking omega. You should be having D, which are actually, they're both good.
Yeah.
Um,
I take
but
that. Yeah.
I needed a mitochondrial support for that oxidative stress. I
Mhm.
needed a supplement for my sleep because that's a huge thing with cortisol levels and women not sleeping and then gaining weight around their belly. And so yes, I'm changing all of those things and eating more paleo or vegan, and less animal fat and saturated fats. And yes, and the way I exercise is also a huge factor.
So you're off your blood pressure meds and you're feeling a lot better. Have
Yeah,
you thought to yourself, where would you be now if you had not gone through this test?
I have. And it's a bit scary, right? Like, did I, and I haven't been to check my heart since, but just my blood pressure, but I'm afraid, did I do any long-term damage? It makes me nervous. I wonder how things would be now if it just would have been a higher dose in a few years and another medication, and you go down this sort of trajectory, right? If you don't take control of your health, right? Especially at 50. I
Mm-hmm.
mean, it's a lot better if I had never, exercised that way, but you can't look back. I have a tendency to look back all the time and go, what if, but I have to just carry on from here. I will be going this year when the world opens up and doing all the tests again, and making sure that my heart is fine, that
Mm-hmm.
there's no blockage, and that I can continue on this path and stay off those meds, because it feels really good.
And tell me a little bit about what your life is like now.
Yeah, I have a young son, as I said, and he's takes up most of my time.
Mm-hmm.
um, I love giving back to the community, and I'm working on a little side hustle that will give back each sale. Um, I'm not allowed to, I don't want to say it yet for someone to steal my idea, but I'm going to be producing something from home. And for each sale, I'm going to be giving proceeds to women's shelters,
Oh,
which is
wow.
something that I'm really excited about. It's sort of the Tom's shoe model, how for every shoe sold, they donated a pair. I'm going to be doing the same thing.
Wow.
And yeah, and I'm still, a spokesperson. I think we're taking the DNA company on the shopping channel this year. And that's what I'm, except now it'll be from home.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
I'm just trying to navigate all of this. I know how lucky I am, because I am able to work from home and be with my son. And so it's just a strange time, but life is really good.
Why did you come back to Canada when you were living
A,
in LA and
num-
then you came back? Yeah.
a number of reasons, mainly my family. My mom and
Mm.
dad are elderly, and they're both, thank goodness, they're alive. And I wanted to be with them in their later years. And my mom and dad are 88 and 87. So,
Wow. That's
and I love
nice.
Canada.
Yeah.
I'm a, I was in the States for over 20 years. And sadly, sometimes you have to go to the States to just to
Mm-hmm.
build your resume as an actor. But I always had the intention to come home.
Really? Wow.
I love it here. I
That's
just
amazing.
feel safer, and the everything. I mean, not to knock our counterparts in the to the south, but
No,
I
of
love being
course.
home. It's
Yeah,
our,
of course.
once you, when there's just something about this nation, and I just feel safer and more calm here.
Hmm. Well, it is calmer for sure. I agree with you.
Yeah.
Um, Tell me a little bit about life as a model. I
Mm-hmm.
mean, I know it was so long ago, and I know people ask you this all the time,
Mm-hmm.
but I'm genuinely interested
No.
because I still can't believe I'm sitting here talking to Monika Schnarre. Like, I actually can't. Like, I'm thinking about myself
Oh.
in junior high school and just looking at the cover view on American Vogue, and I'm awestruck still that you're here all these years later and we're talking. Um, and I just, what was it like? Were people nice?
So it was crazy. It was just a really crazy time. And, I know I probably was a little bit young, but it was my decision. I forced my mom to take me to the agencies. And
Amazing.
it was, I mean, some weeks I was on a plane every night, literally. Like because I was commuting, I was in high school. I thought, looking back now, I don't know what I was thinking. I could have done it all correspondence, or if we had internet, I could have done it
Right.
online.
Right.
but I'm shocked that I didn't have a breakdown, honestly, because I was on a plane every week, sometimes every night. I was going to Paris for a day and then coming back before I
Back
even
to Toronto?
yeah, before I even slept there. And I would get so mad because I was such a goody two shoes, and I would have my homework done. And then everyone in class would complain that they didn't have time to do it. And I'm like, are you kidding me?
Yeah,
I just,
exactly.
I flew to Paris. I did a job and came back, and I got my assignment done.
Wow.
It was nuts. It was just a crazy time. And I, I know it was very stressful on me, and there were very difficult moments, but I also got to, and I don't regret any of it. I got to see the world. I met the most interesting people. It's afforded me other careers. I never would have thought to be an actress if I hadn't been a model. And so at 19, I moved to LA, and I didn't know a soul. So it changed my whole life in one night. And I'm grateful for it, even though it was stressful, even though it was hard, even though it just decimated my self-esteem. It
Really?
was good to, of course, it was good to have happened, because I appreciate so much now, and I've had a very interesting and rich life because of it.
Do you ever, or do you look at models? I don't call them supermodels because they're models. And
You
think
mean
to yourself,
today's models?
yeah, and
Yeah, yeah,
think
yeah.
to yourself how sick and unwell and emotionally unwell they must be. Do you ever think of that?
I do, it's been cyclical with body types, and
Mhm.
um but sometimes, yeah, I think it's really unhealthy. And but to be fair, some women are very thin naturally,
Mm,
and so
of course.
um but it will, I think I modeled during a healthier time where, Cindy and Christy, and like there were curves. These days it doesn't seem that, except for certain plus size models, that curves are on the, like, not allowed. And um
No,
and it's interesting that you won't say supermodel these days, because that era was in the 80s, and I
of
don't, by the
course.
way, I don't put myself in the same category as they had bigger careers. Cindy and Christy and Naomi, they were all, I was sort of part-time, and I went back to school. And but I also take issue with, these days the models are more, it's more about nepotism and families, and who and who you're married to, or who your mom is Christian, or like,
Exactly.
you
Exactly.
know
And they're beautiful girls.
they
Just
are
like, no
nothing
offense. They're great.
right.
It's just not the same, and I'm not trying to age us by, speaking the way our parents used to speak. Oh, it's not the same as it used to be when we were
Mm-hmm,
kids,
mm-hmm.
but really, the reason why I ask is because, as a mom, and I look at these images and I think to myself, I mean, it's not even healthy for me. I can't
Right,
imagine what it's like for younger women
right.
or young girls, because
Mm-hmm.
models in the 80s, yes, you were all absolutely beautiful and girls wanted to be pretty, but there wasn't this underlying tone of um, emotional instability and being so ill. And you find
Mm.
that now they're just not well, and I don't like it. It bothers me. It takes away from the industry.
And it's also very, very different because we didn't have Photoshop. So,
Right.
when we showed up and you had a pimple, you might get sent home. But these days,
Really?
oh, 100, luckily I wasn't sent home ever, but yes, if your face broke out, because that's very expensive to airbrush, which was done by hand on a slide.
Wow.
So these days, oh, she's overweight, we'll just liquefy. Like, these days, it's
Wow.
so much easier.
Of
And those
course.
images that you might take issue with are not real, right? Everything's
Mhm.
been photoshopped within an inch of its life. So, these days, even social media, everything makes women feel terrible about themselves because it's all too perfect, right? No one
That's
looks
right.
like that.
Totally. No one
it's
looks like
our it's
that.
our highlight reel. No one looks like that going to school to drop off the kids. you know
Right. Right.
like,
It's
perfect,
true.
your skin looks
Was
perfect.
was there anybody that you worked with, another model that I mean, you mentioned Cindy and Christy and
Hmm.
Naomi. Was there anybody that you worked with that you just adored, almost
You know
as if
what?
a mentor, a friend?
I really did love Christy. She was
Because she's
in
beautiful.
in Eileen Ford's house, and she was one of the most lovely, authentic, intelligent women. Rachel Hunter and I were
Mm,
also roommates. And I always think of those two because we lived together for a long time. There were lots of women who came through the house, by the way. I'll still meet people and they'll go, Monica, like Angie Everhart or Sarah O'Hare, and they'll say, Monica, we lived together. Hi, nice to see you. And I was so young, I don't remember. I was there the longest because I was so young. And so I don't actually remember everyone that I lived with. And I'll say, oh, nice to
wow.
see you. I don't remember living with you. But it was like this revolving door. But Rachel Hunter and Christy, they are just as you imagine them.
Beautiful people.
Yeah,
That's, yeah. Like you can just
you
tell
can
their
tell.
glow is real.
Yes,
Yes.
absolutely.
Okay, so now I want to ask you about 90210 because I have to.
Okay.
Okay,
Okay.
you're 90210.
Okay,
So
let's
that
do
was, of
it.
course, that was one of my favorite shows, of course, growing up. I love that show. And so what was it like for you to be on that show? What was
You
that
know
like?
what? Also lovely people.
Hmm.
Some actors have come out and said that they didn't have a good experience on the show. I had a great experience. Jason is Canadian, Jason
Yeah,
Priestley.
beloved. Yeah.
And Ian Ziering
Sure.
was very sweet to me.
Hmm.
And, the subject matter was, if you haven't seen the episode, I played Elle, and she is a trans woman. And these days, of course, I wouldn't take the role because we know that should go to a trans woman
Yes.
or trans actor, but we didn't know back then. And but I'm proud to have played one of the first trans roles on television. And I loved, I did 3 episodes and I was really honored that they brought me back. And it was fun. We just had a great time. I mean, obviously, they had been there for years and it was a hit show. And often when you go on a set, it's hard to assimilate. But they were very welcoming. It was just
That's
fun.
so amazing. And tell me about your anti-aging, your creams, right? It's a
Yes.
skincare line.
Yes, it is called I Am Pure, and sadly, we did not make it through the pandemic, but
Oh,
but it's okay. It was 13 years, and I'm really, really proud
13
of.
years.
Yes, can you imagine? That's how long I had it. It was
13 years and I
slow
didn't.
and word of mouth. I know it was skincare and cosmetics. I mean, they're one of the hardest sort of niches to break into. There are
Mhm.
thousands of products
No.
but you know what, I don't regret anything because I got to go to Germany. I got to be on the shopping channel here and in Germany on QVC. Everything is an experience. And I never
Mhm.
look at it as a failure because I had so many great memories from
I
doing it.
feel like you have this light, this positivity
Oh,
that's
that's so
just,
nice,
I'm serious. I listened to your interview on the Feminine Warrior. I love
Oh,
Helen and
Helen, I
Diane.
love her too. Yeah.
Love them. And I really love the way you connected with both of them. I thought it was very authentic, but I was so
Oh.
excited to speak with you because I could tell, just I was walking and listening to the episode, and it just, you have this positivity, this
Mm.
just sense of like, it's pure. It seems, it's so authentic. It's so pure. I love it.
Thank you. That's so
And that's why I
nice.
hope that people listen to this. They might not want to go out and get their DNA tested. Maybe they will,
That's
but maybe
okay.
they'll
Yeah.
feel empowered to do something for themselves that will make them feel
I hope
better.
so. I hope
Yeah.
so. Just, you know what? Take a long walk. Try and, I know this sounds silly, but just change one thing a day. Even if it's when your kid is online learning, if you organize your closet, it gives you some, I know that sounds silly, but
No, it
I've
doesn't.
been called, I've been
Love
called
it.
positive Patty, but it changes things like, oh, there's that outfit I forgot about. And maybe my wardrobe isn't terrible. And organization and helping just mentally helping you get through this time. But that's very kind of you to say. My friends call me positive Patty, and
I love it.
a long time ago someone said about me and I took offense, but now I think it's quite a good thing. They said Monica would be happy in a litter box, and and I think because I was renovating homes and I can live through the sawdust and then I thought, what does that mean? I live in in a litter box. But actually, I think if you can be happy in the key, I think, for happiness is to be able to be happy wherever you are, right?
Mm.
It might be for a moment in a litter box or in a mansion. It doesn't matter as long as you can find happiness in each day. And because things will turn around. I want people to know that, that it hasn't always been easy for me. And I have recently been through a divorce, and I understand how hard it is to be a single mom in a pandemic, for God's sake. So I know I laugh a lot and I make light of things, but there are dark moments, and just know that you're going to get through them.
I appreciate you for being so truthful and opening up so much, being so
Oh,
candid. It's cathartic, isn't it? To be
thank
able
you.
to
It is to
have a
connect.
voice.
Yeah,
Yeah.
because a lot of women, are and men, but a lot of women right now are taking care of the house, taking care of the kids, going through hell, and not taking just 5 minutes. Lock yourself and have a bath, light a candle, take care of yourself
Mhm.
mentally, because we all need to support each other, and
I'm
we're gonna
doing
get
that later.
okay. Good,
I
good.
love that idea. I haven't lit a candle in a bath in a while, and that's my that's gonna be my happy time tonight.
You know what? I'm not good at meditating, so it's my little meditation time. No one's allowed to come in.
Ooh,
Mommy, there's another washroom you can go to.
that's
Um,
great.
yeah. So lock the
That's
door,
great.
light a candle, and take 5 minutes to yourself.
Monica, it's been such a joy meeting you and talking with you.
Nice talking to
I
you.
feel enlightened. I want to,
Oh,
I don't know, kind of turn this page and get into the next chapter of my life and in terms of my health. So I feel very empowered right now. And I hope people listening feel the same.
oh,
And
I
I
hope
just
so
wish you all
too.
the success and happiness and love, and
Oh,
bright days, not dark days, going forward. Thank you
thank
so much for
you.
coming on the DL and speaking with me.
Thank you. So nice connecting with you. Thanks for having me on.
Thanks, Monica. Be well.
You too.